There is a new 6-episode spy thriller on Prime Video called Butterfly. It is based on a graphic novel series by Arash Amel and Margaret Bennett. And it answers the question, what if Americans made K-drama? It stars Daniel Day Kim, Raina Hardesty, and Piper Parabo. And it's essentially about a conniving spy agency. Daniel Day Kim kind of plays this guy who faked his own death and disappeared, and then now, many, many years later, he decides to come back into the open because he wants to find his long-lost daughter, who also happens to work for the spy agency that he started and is an assassin like he was in his previous life.
I don't think he was an assassin in his previous life. Because remember, it wasn't a private security / information / spy firm when he was heading it up. Only after his death did, his partner take it down the money grubbing way, as opposed to just the national espionage way.
True, but he still did covert operations trying to hunt down Filipino dictators. Doesn't that count as being an assassin?
But they were bad people and you're, part of the government. I think it's okay.
So it's okay lah.
It's okay lah.
Sure,
You're official. Yeah.
Okay, sure. That is essentially the big plot point on which this entire series kind of hinges on. It's 6 episodes. It moves kind of quick. Daniel Day Kim is great, as always. Raina Hardesty, I've never seen her in anything before, but she's also very good. And Piper Parabo is chewing the scenery as the bad guy. All of that is what you'd expect from a high-quality series like this one. However, I have to say, it isn't without its issues. Because in a lot of ways, this feels incredibly generic. It feels like a lot of things that I have seen before. Whether it's blending another Piper Parabo TV series called Covert Ops, I think, or Covert Operations. I think that was a TV series with La Femme Nikita. There's a bunch of stuff that this thing cribs from. And I think my problem with it is that it doesn't actually bring anything particularly new to the picture besides being set in Korea. I binged all 6 episodes because it was just there.
It was a hate binge. I did it too. It was a hate binge.
I feel like hate is too strong a word because I didn't find this show offensive in any way.
Yeah.
It is the kind of show that maybe I would sit down and watch on network television back in the day because it was just on. And it had these famous people that I knew, and it was okay.
And it wasn't terrible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. But it's really funny because I think given that a Prime Video series can be considered prestige television, it's funny how generic this thing is. And I think that's the biggest problem.
It's the kind of thing where in about 3 months, you and I will be talking to each other about what was that Daniel Day Kim series we saw. It's going to be sort of confused and muddled in with the other generic spy stuff we've seen from a streamer.
Sorry, that previous show with Piper Parabo was called Covert Affairs, not Covert Operations. But
oh, well, okay.
Very similar vibe, mind you. And
Sure,
this was from 2010. I think it lasted 3 or 4 seasons, but this was from 2010, way back when. Anyway.
I will say, that is probably the best thing about this series, was to see Piper Parabo back.
I mean, to be fair, she hasn't really gone anywhere. She was in Billions and Yellowstone, right? So
yeah, but to see her sort of like really chewing up the scene was nice. I mean, I dropped out of Billions a long time ago, so I really missed that. It's just nice to see her again. I liked her.
I was trying to figure out what was wrong with this series. And I think I might have figured it out. Now, I haven't read the graphic novel, so I'm not sure how that plays out or how long that graphic novel lasted as a series. But I think there is a problem with pacing in this one, in that after watching the first 6 episodes, I feel like that arc could have been resolved quicker. I mean, even after watching the first 2 episodes, I felt it took them too long to get to that confessional moment between Daniel Day Kim, between father and daughter, as to why I left. I mean, there was so much back and forth in those 2 episodes with, oh, you deserted me, oh, you hate me, oh, I did it for your own good, it was for your own safety, it was to protect you. I mean, just spill it, man. Get that bit over and then make sure the drama comes from somewhere else. Because that bit we've seen a million times before.
Even in the million times we've seen prior, we've hated it then and we hate it now. It's that fake, I don't want to say fake drama, but the lazy writing of not telling people things just to drag it on, only for you to tell them later 3 episodes down the road, just feels stupid.
Yeah, not telling the characters things that the audience already knows or have figured out. I mean, for me, the most exciting bit of the show was in the middle between episode 4 and 5, when father and daughter are kind of plotting against someone and doing actual spycraft. All of that felt really fun. And I felt like that was the show I wanted to see. Not that I didn't appreciate the family drama stuff. The family drama stuff was executed very well, and it created a bit of emotional tension. However, despite being 6 episodes and only 6 episodes, it still felt draggy because they felt like they were pulling that out as long as possible. And so for me, I think it should have been compressed. I think when we reach the end of episode 6, there is a cliffhanger, mind you. We don't know if there's going to be a season 2. But at the end of episode 6, that feels like the point they wanted to get to. So they could tell a more exciting story. And I wish they had done that in season 1. I wish they hadn't dragged it out for season 2.
Yeah. I kind of applaud the attempt at this show. I think they had a lot of interesting parts, right? I like the Daniel Day Kim being dead but not dead, and then the daughter thing and trying to pull her out of the business. I like all that. I just didn't like that it took so long to settle into it. They really tried to K-drama the fuck out of it, and I did not like that. I did not like that they tried to give it the K-drama sort of sprinkle of melodrama, which made it feel unnecessary. And that was my problem with it. I think the log line, the big picture, the high concept of this thing was interesting. And I think that would have kept me going without all that other K-drama-ness. Like, I love the fact that it's set in Korea. I love the fact that Daniel Day Kim is an American Korean who has to sort of settle in, because there were a lot of bits of dialogue where everybody's like, oh, you're trying to lose your American accent, huh? And being treated like an outsider in a country of not his own, but country of his parents' origin or whatever. I love that there's all those little bits there. But then they drop the ball by trying to make this be melodramatic family bullshit.
Everything that happens between episode 1 and 6 could be a 2-hour movie. Like, if you just took out the good bits, it could have been a film. And I wouldn't have been angry. I just feel the remaining filler elements took up far too much time because they're setting you up for something bigger in season 2, which may or may not happen. Butterfly isn't terrible. Like I said, I sat and binged through the whole thing. I mean, with terrible shows, Bahir and I just give up because it's not worth it. Life's too short, right?
Yeah.
And with this one, there was still stuff that was compelling enough for me to continue watching. And I wanted to find out what happened next. But I felt cheated by the end of episode 6 because I was like, no, wait, this should have come sooner. You could have told a much more interesting story because what happens next is more interesting, not the journey to 6.
But also, I think this is one of those times when I'm wondering, like, why not just make a 12-episode first season? Whatever you end up doing in season 2 with another 6 episodes, could you not have done it here? Was the budget requirements really that much that you couldn't just have asked for another bunch of it to make 12-episode season 1, as opposed to now whether or not it gets cancelled is up for question. But like, I have no trust in TV showrunners now, because if this thing gets renewed, will I get it next year or will I get it the year after that? At which point I will no longer care, because this show is not good enough for me to care over the course of 18 to 24 months.
And I think that's the problem with Butterfly. It doesn't do enough by the end of these 6 episodes to make you care to want more. There was a cliffhanger and it was frustrating, but it felt very much like the Old Guard 2. Frustrating cliffhanger. There's never going to be an Old Guard 3 because God knows they took 5 years to get the Old Guard 2 out and it felt like a dump. And this one feels the same way. I've got through all of these episodes and I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess. That was something I watched.
I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, all 6 episodes of Butterfly are now streaming on Prime Video. If any of you have read the graphic novel, please tell us what it's about and what it's like. Is it similar to the TV series? Is it different? Because watching this, I kept thinking, wait, what was it about this graphic novel that made people go, oh, let's adapt this. This is good, because it feels too generic to be anything else. It's like, we've seen a lot of spy shows. We've seen a lot of thrillers. This one ticks all of the boxes, but doesn't do anything else.
It's got all the right moving pieces, but it never really does anything with it. And I think that feels like the biggest crime here.
Let us know what you think if you've seen Butterfly on Prime Video. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram on @GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.